everyone, this is Alan Sanders and Marlayna Glenn, and we are on our episode number 2 for Float World. We appreciate you guys participating and giving us feedback. Based on our last poll, the topic today is going to be how to monetize your home while living remotely. And this is sort of part of a broader subject, which was how to make money while nomadic. So this is one aspect that we're going to cover today, which we believe to be one of the most important aspects because it cuts down your housing expense dramatically, and you can even make more money from your home if you do it right than it will cost you to travel, which then makes your travel free in a way. So Marlayna used to work for Airbnb as a photographer when they were offering that free service to the hosts. She's got a lot of experience with listing properties on Airbnb. We've been managers and hosts with Airbnb and other short-term rental situations, and we have all 5-star reviews, and we're also super hosts. So we think we have a pretty good overall package of information that we can offer to you guys. And in fact, Marlayna is going to talk to you guys about a way that you can download a lot of the checklists and other things we've made, a lot of resources that we've created, and you get all that free by being a member of Float World. So thank you guys for your participation. I'm going to hand it over to Marlayna, and she's going to talk about prepping your home.
So there was a point where I couldn't stand the idea of somebody being in my home, and in particular sleeping in my bed and using my things. So just so you know, I had a huge shift to make in order to get to where we are today. We started out slowly by renting one room in our home on Airbnb, and we, probably not Alan, but I was very surprised to learn at how much fun it was. We started having guests in who were bringing their experiences to us, and we got to know a lot of people, and we made some friends, and most of the time we were sorry to see them go. Then the next step was becoming more comfortable in Airbnb, well, let's call it short-term renting our entire home. And because we had traveled so often by Airbnb, we knew exactly what to look for. And I traveled exclusively using Airbnb listings for 2 years in 2012 to 2014. So I knew what to do, and we created checklists that we're going to share with you. But briefly, I'd just like to mention around prepping your home to turn it into a short-term rental, the best thing you can do is think about it from a guest's perspective and the things that they would want when doing short-term stays at a home rather than a hotel room. This will be covered extensively in our lists, but a shorter list would be people are going to want comfortable beds, good pillows, high quality linens. They're going to want the place to be clean and organized, and for it to have everything that they might need during their stay. This usually includes soaps, shampoos, conditioners, cleaning supplies so they can do their dishes, run the dishwasher, run some laundry. They will also want a well-outfitted kitchen. So the experiences of checking into a place and it has 2 forks, not cool. I mean, you really need to have a lot there for them to cook for themselves. Because people, when they're staying at a home, they kind of want to relax in the home. They will be going out and seeing the local sites, but in short, it needs to be comfortable. You need to have coffee and tea setups as well. Some people offer even more food. When I was working as a photographer, it was very interesting to see in Austin what the Airbnb hosts were offering as far as food goes, but that's not super common. And also, lastly, for this video, if you have an exterior, set it up for comfort. We will be sharing pictures soon because we're very excited. We're redoing our backyard now that we're in our own home for a month. And we're purchasing a canopy and patio furniture, and we're rocking the whole back so that people can sit in our backyard and watch the sunset because it's the perfect view out here. So since we have worked managing other properties, we have a pretty extensive list that we would like to share. So head on over to our website. It's flowt.world, not .com, flowt.world. It's flowt.world, WORLD. And if you sign in opt in over there, we will automatically send you a complete list of everything you need to know about how to prep your home and what to have in it to welcome your guests. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Alan to talk about a super important part, which is managing your home when you're not there.
Okay, great. So thanks, Marlayna. We have done a lot of experimentation and have learned from people that we've worked with as managers. We had a company at one point called Vacation Space Managers, another one called Corporate Income Properties. We were managing different types of properties under both of those names. And one of the things that we learned is that Airbnb, although it is incredibly effective, is sort of the 800-pound gorilla in the room as well, and can be a disadvantage in some ways. So it's good for you to do your homework and figure out in your specific market whether Airbnb by itself is going to be the right type of platform to list on, or should you diversify. If you are going to diversify, of course, the next one in line most of the time is VRBO. A lot of people like that one, and a lot of people that we know, they get half their bookings from both Airbnb and VRBO, and then they even get some direct bookings from repeat customers, and that's kind of nice because then you can cut out all the Airbnb and VRBO fees and all that other stuff, and then the only thing you'll owe is just your local taxes in your jurisdiction. That's a whole other subject, but you'll just need to learn about that. So other places that people list sometimes are Craigslist. You got to be careful with that a little bit because sometimes in certain jurisdictions they don't allow you to list on Craigslist. You got to be very careful and know your local rules. The reason that they're kind of picky about that is because a lot of people will list on Craigslist and then not pay their taxes. So they're, of course, concerned about that. You want to make sure you're going through a platform where you're allowed. Zillow is another one, and then Facebook Marketplace is becoming a big place for people to list directly. Some people even develop their own website and have their own listings, or they hire a property management listing service in the local area. We have companies here in New Mexico that do that as a service, and you list your property on their site, and then people that are Googling vacation space, short-term rental in Taos, where we are, might find their site and book directly with them. So there's all kinds of different ways. You need to do your research and figure out which one works for you. We are going to be offering, for those that want more help in detailed coaching and resources, we've compiled a lot of stuff over the last 3 or 4 years, especially Marlayna. She's got more experience with this with me than me. We have compiled a lot of resources, and if you will private message us, we'll be glad to figure out how we can best help you. That we want this site to be something that people can go to for help. We can't help every single person exactly the same way, but we can certainly guide you towards the resources that we have found and help you guys from that perspective. So I'm now going to pass it back over to Marlayna, and she's going to talk about, so you got stages. You're going to get your house ready, then you're going to list it, you're going to get it being booked, and then you have the management side. Once it's being booked, there's a whole other game, and then we're going to talk about at the end how you can make this not very intimidating and everything can work. So don't be intimidated by listening to this. She's going to talk about the management side, all right?
Okay, so you have several choices to manage your property. So let's say, for example, you have a house and you're going to be elsewhere and you have a renter for a month who's coming to stay in your place. We prefer monthly rentals, for example. It's nice, you could do the bookings yourself, you could do all the communication with the guest, make arrangements for them to check in, and then you take off. However, what happens if something goes wrong with the plumbing? What if the water heater goes out? You really need someone on hand who can help you with these issues because you just don't know what is going to happen. So the choices are, you could do it yourself remotely. You could do all the bookings, for example. Like in our case, we handle all the bookings and the communication because I like that part. I like to interact with the guests. I like to find out who they are, talk to them about the place, their kids, their dogs, just offer advice and be intimately involved. However, I don't like doing the local things, and we wouldn't be here anyway in our case. So we have chosen the second option, which is to hire a local manager. We have a fabulous lady here in Taos that I'm happy to recommend if you're watching from Taos. And I do all the bookings and communication until the guests arrive, and then she takes over. We pay her a percentage of the booking, and she's our boots on the ground here. So she does all the communication with the guests once they're staying here, such as can they get deliveries? She'll help them out with that. Yard work,
stocking up new items, cleaning items, paper products, stuff like that. We've got things locked in a specific closet so that they can keep replenishing those items.
And she has a key, not the guest.
If they lock themselves out, which happened with our last guest accidentally. She popped over, she had a key, it was 5 minutes later, she had them back in the house. So little weird things like that happen, and you just have to plan for them and be ready. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, and then, so your choices so far, you can just handle it remotely, or you can hire a local manager to help you out and split the duties. You can also have your local manager do all of the bookings, and you hand everything over, and that's usually a higher percentage, and sometimes people can't squeeze that amount of money out of what they're making on the rental. So we can talk more about that extensively. Third is to hire a local management or a management company such as Evolve or Turnkey. These are not what we would recommend off the bat. For example, they, as we understand, take 10% for booking only. But then your guest shows up, and like I said, the dishwasher isn't working, and what happens? Evolve doesn't fix it, and you're not around to take care of it either. So my recommendation is to hire someone local who will help you out if and when needed. It's just nice to know that they're there. So now I'm going to turn it back over to Alan to talk about closing.
Okay, so the last thing we'd like to finish with, guys, is to let you know that this entire process might sound intimidating to even think about renting your own home. Personal belongings and all that kind of stuff were something we were thinking about in the beginning, and we finally realized there's really not that many items in any house that you really have to lock away. And so we just took our master closet, put a key lock on the door, and that's where we lock all of our stuff. I take all my tools out of the garage, I lock them in the garage, little things like that. Most of the stuff stays in the garage. You got the grill and the lawnmower and all that stuff, that all can stay out there. In fact, we leave our golf clubs hanging out there because they're not real expensive golf club sets. And there's a golf club course right next door to where we live, Taos Country Club. If they want to play golf, we just let them use the golf clubs while we're here. It's kind of a nice little amenity. Mm-hmm. So we started realizing that there was not a huge inventory of items that we really needed to lock away while we're out of town. We just made that closet be that repository. It's almost a little storage building for us. But the rest of the house stays as is. And if you're doing the right things when you're booking these people and watching their reviews and getting the right people in, they tend to be families and older people that are kind of, more settled in life. They're not going to tear your stuff up or anything. You actually have less wear and tear on your place than a long-term renter will give to your place. That may sound counterintuitive, but they're just in and out. They don't hang things on the walls and make the place theirs while they're here. And, there's Airbnb insurance and these kind of short-term rental insurances that are in place. Your own homeowner's insurance can cover things. That's a whole other conversation because you got to make sure you're covered correctly. But don't feel intimidated by this. If you're considering it and it sounds like there's no way I would ever do this, do your research. Check into it because the monetary side can be pretty remarkable. We've got some things planned that we believe where we're going to be making enough off of our house to cover not only the cost of the house and the utilities, but also to cover our travel.
Well, that is the goal.
That is the goal. So not just cover the cost, cover it and make some.
Yes.
Which then makes your travel completely free. So anyway, go back to the site, flowt.world. Go opt in, put your email address in. There's no obligation, no cost, nothing like that. It's just so that you can get on our list and then we can start sending things out because it's hard to share things through the Facebook page. This is more of an informational page. So We appreciate you guys listening. We hope this is going to be a helpful channel for you. And we're going to have another piece of the making money while nomadic, which is how you can make money while you're traveling. And we've compiled a list of all that stuff, not just monetizing your house. There's a whole other set of making money. And a lot of these involve in these foreign countries or other states that you may be traveling in. So that's kind of fun. All right. Until next time, this is episode 2. We hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to our next conversation with you guys. Have fun.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.